If I had to start from scratch today, no money, no audience, and only a few hours per day as a parent, here's exactly how I build a $5,000 per month online business, step by step, no fluff. Okay, let's walk through my framework step by step on how I would do this. You see on my screen here, I've just got the title of How I'd Make $5,000 per month as a Parent in 2025. And so everything we talk about today, I'm going to be using my freedom framework is what I call it. And it's really composed of three different things. Number one is products. We're going to just write product on the screen here. And this is what are you going to sell, right? That is our product. So that's going to be kind of the first thing we're going to talk about. The second thing we're going to talk about is going to be packaging. How am I going to sell it? How am I going to sell it? Right? Packaging. How am I going to sell it? So once you've got an idea, how do you actually package it up and actually sell it? Now, the packaging can go from like super simple to mega complex when we talk about online business models. We're going to try to keep it pretty simple in this example because we just need to get to 5,000 per month, which really shouldn't actually take a ton to really get there. And then the last thing we're going to talk about is promotion. And so this is my freedom framework. What are we going to sell? How are we going to sell it? And then how will people see it? How will you actually get it out to people on the internet? So let's start with our product. How would I figure out what I'm going to sell? Well, the first thing I would say when I'm thinking about if my only goal is I want to get to $5,000 per month, right? And not to say you couldn't scale this up higher, but I would start thinking about what kind of business models could get me there pretty easily. And what I would immediately go to is offering a service, something that's kind of like done for you. And it would probably be to businesses. Typically, businesses are going to have a little bit more that they're able to spend. And they're going to be a little bit easier to market to for something like a done-for-you service because a lot of times business owners are really needing something where they can just give it to you to do, right? So maybe some kind of agency, maybe running ads or doing something like that, something that I could offer to businesses. Now, how are you going to figure out what product you should sell? Because you might be thinking, okay, maybe I go with some kind of service, right? Maybe I offer some kind of service that I can give to, could be businesses or could be something else. How are you going to figure out what you would sell? Well, it's going to be designed around your skills. So the first question that I would answer here when it comes to what am I going to sell is what are my skills, right? What skills do you already have built in? You might be good at design. You might be good at advertising. You might be good at marketing. You might be good at random other things, right? There could be a gazillion things. You may have skills in teaching certain subjects or video games. You might be good at, tutoring, or you can think of anything. You might be good at knitting, right? Think about what are your skills. Could be anything. And I would also think about what skills you love. Don't think about necessarily the skills that you hate. Right? You might have skills in things. I know I'm intelligent in things where I'm like, why do I know that? Why? So I want to think about things that I enjoy because I'm going to build a business off of that. So what are my skills? Next question is, who am I going to sell to? Who is the customer, right? Who is it for? We talked about that. It might be, business owners. You might want to get more specific than that. It might be a certain type of business owner. It could be online business owners, could be plumbers or HVAC or lawn care, right? It could be accountants. It could be doctors, teachers. Who are you going to sell to? So you've got skills, right? And you want to offer a service to a certain type of person. These are the two biggest questions I would answer when it comes to the product that you're going to sell. What are your existing skills and who are you going to sell it to? Okay, when we talk about packaging, moving over to that, this is really where we get down to, okay, what are we going to offer to our person, our customer? And how much are we going to charge? And then how are we going to package it up and actually sell it on the internet? Now, one thing I want to make clear here, when it comes to this goal of getting to $5,000 per month as a parent, you don't need a lot of packaging. You're not going to need a lot of software. You're not going to need a ton ton, because what I would recommend is that you offer a high value, high cost service, because then you're only going to need a few customers, right? You don't want to offer something that is, $50 and then you need a ton of customers, right? To get to that goal, right? You might want to offer something that's more like $500, $1,000, or even $2,000, $3,000, depending on the value of that service. That's what you want to offer, right? So packaging, how am I going to sell it? And one of the things you might be thinking about is price, right? I consider this under packaging. So price, how do we come up with a good price? Well, the easiest way to come up with the price, two tips I want to give you. Number one is price relates directly to the outcome you're getting for somebody. So you pick you've got a skill, you pick a service, you've got the customer, right? Price is directly related to how much the outcome is worth, right? The result that you're getting for this person, this customer, how much is it worth to them, right? Now, if it's only worth $100, it might not be worth your time, because then you're only going to make $100 for however many hours of work it takes you to get that, to do that service, right? But your price that you charge is directly related to the outcome. Now, typically, the outcome they get should be worth a lot higher than what you're offering, right? Let's say that you're offering, a marketing services. Let's say you're going to run ads for a business. Run like Facebook ads, Instagram ads, right? Now, if you're charging $1,000 a month and the result they're getting is $5,000 in sales per month, right? That's a 5x return on their investment into your service of running ads for them for $1,000 a month, right? That's a pretty good value. In fact, you should probably raise your prices if you're able to get your customers the result of 5x their, investment into your product. So that's kind of how I think about price. So what is the result worth? The other thing I always research and consider when I'm coming up with price is, what is the competition charging? Now, this isn't always a good thing to base your price off of, because sometimes in some niches and some products and services, you're going to have competitors that might be really, really high and competitors that might be really, really low. And a lot of times that's going to be related to the actual quality that they're offering for that service, right? So you want to be careful of what you're doing there, but you do want to try to find some maybe direct competitors and see what they're charging, right? If you can find a similar product, or maybe it's a similar service in a different niche, you can look at that, right? But also think about, who that customer is and kind of what they can pay when you're thinking about that. But I think it is good to research the competition. It is good to see what's out there, because you don't want to be the cheapest. You never want to be the cheapest, but sometimes you might not want to be the most expensive as well, right? Depending on what you're offering. Okay. So how am I going to sell it? So we think about price. Okay. What is the result worth? You typically want the result to be worth more than what you're charging, right? And what is the competition charging? Okay. And then I want you to think about what assets you're going to need to actually sell this. Now, as I mentioned earlier, you typically don't need a lot when it comes to getting to $5,000 a month as a parent. You're not going to need an elaborate website in most cases. You're not going to need, tons of different software and landing pages. You're not going to need webinars. You're not going to need all these things. Now, if you do want to set up something very basic, what I would probably set up is some kind of form or application. And then I would set up a Zoom call. So you might need something like Calendly or something like that. And essentially what you would want to do here, let's actually erase this and let's go, you want to take this form application and then take them over to a link where they can book a call. So that's that Zoom or Calendly link, right? So have them fill out an application to see if they're a good fit, right? And then book a call with you over Zoom where you can actually go through how you can help them and what they'll get and what your pricing is. You don't typically want, when you're offering a service or a product that's thousands of dollars, which is what I would recommend in this case, if you want to quickly get to $5,000 a month, you typically don't want to just be like, hey, I'm here, here's what I can offer you, and it's going to be $2,500, right? Typically, you want to have them fill out an application to see if they're a good fit, okay? See if they have the money, if they can afford it, if they're the right customer, and then you want to send them to book a call with you where then you can show them what you can offer and how you can help them. You can look at their specific situation, and then you can try to close that sale on the call. Now, if you want to get crazy with this, you don't even really need a form or application. Depending on your promotional strategy, which we'll talk about in a minute, you could just send them directly to book a call with you, right? You don't even really need a form or an application, right? So you could simplify this down to just booking a call, which you really just need maybe like a Calendly and a Zoom to be able to host the call. But if you want to get fancy, set up a form. You can set up a Google form. You can set up something like a Jot form, FormSpree, Tally.so. These are all great tools that you could use to actually set up a form. If you do something like Tally.so, you could do some more complex things in the form, like you could qualify them based on certain things, way they answer questions. That can be helpful. But again, I would simplify this down into the simplest that you can possibly get it. And so you want to offer a high value service based on your skills, right? You want to make sure you can get the customer 2, 3, 4x or more the result, the outcome than what you're charging to figure out your price. And then you want to just have a simple application to book a call or even just book a call depending on your promotional strategy. So let's move over to the promotional part. This is kind of that third aspect. Remember the goal, just getting to $5,000 per month. If we offer a service at $1,000, we only need 5 customers. If we offer a service at $2,500, we only need 2 customers, right? So here's the thing. When it comes to promotion, how will people see it? There are tons of ways to get traffic. Paid advertising, you can do YouTube, you can do Instagram, Facebook, all these things. I would not recommend any of those if our goal is just how do we as quickly as possible get to $5,000 per month. I would not go with any of those. What I would go with is simply this. It is direct outreach to your ideal customer. Okay, I've been doing this for a while and it works so good when you have a platform that you can identify your ideal customer and you have a way to reach out to them. Okay, so there's a couple different ways you can do this depending on who your ideal customer is. Okay, now where this is going to be a little more difficult is going to be if you are selling to consumers. So if you're not selling to businesses, if it's not B2B, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. You're going to need to use something like Instagram, Facebook, or a platform where your ideal customers are already hanging out. It might be TikTok. It could be one of those kind of places. And I do want to put that up here because that's a question that I would ask as soon as you start thinking about promotion is where are your customers already hanging out? Before you go any further, you should think about what are the platforms, social media platforms, just places on the internet where they are already hanging out, right? That's going to determine where you should go. Another tip I would give you here is pick one strategy, one platform. Don't try to do a bunch of things at once. Just do one thing related to direct outreach. So answer that question, where your customers already hang out. Then you're going to do a direct outreach strategy to your ideal customer. So again, as I mentioned, if it's consumer based, it's typically going to be on a social media platform. So we're going to put like consumer. It might be Insta, FB, could be TikTok, those kind of places. You're going to have to go where they're already hanging out, right? So it's typically going to be somewhere there. If it's a B2B customer. So if you're selling to businesses, it's typically going to be great places, LinkedIn. So let's actually put businesses up here. Businesses. It's going to be LinkedIn is great. Okay. Awesome place to do outreach because they actually have tools and software built in where you can do this really easily. So LinkedIn is going to be awesome. You can also do cold email. It's going to be good. There's a lot of great ways to do that. And then you're also going to have places like X, Reddit, where there are a lot of business owners hanging out. And you do have Facebook and Insta, which are going to be a little bit lower on the totem pole in my opinion, when it comes to cold outreach. So let's talk about these a little bit. How do you know what to say? And what do I even mean when I say cold outreach or direct outreach? What I mean is literally reaching out and saying, hey, here's the problem that you have. Here are my expertise, and here's how I can help you fix it, right? Would you like to jump on a call? And remember, when you're doing this direct outreach, it's always going to lead back to here. It's going to lead back to either the form or application or booking a call directly with you. So you're going to use this packaging when you're doing this direct outreach and say, hey, can I help you? Come over here and book a call. I'd love to chat with you, right? Now, again, if it's consumer, if it is, you have to reach out to a regular just person on, a social media platform, it's going to have to be more warm. It's going to have to be more relationship building, right? It's going to take more time. B2B is typically better for this if you're selling to businesses, services to businesses, because LinkedIn is a platform where it's much more common for people to get this cold outreach. Now, you can use tools like ones that I've used in the past that I really like, called Dripify. Dripify is a tool, I think it's dripify.com. It's a tool that will actually, you can set up automated LinkedIn outreach, and you can use Dripify and the LinkedIn Sales Navigator. I'm going to put Sales Navigator to actually look up the specific types of business owners, create a list of them, and then do an automated outreach with Dripify. It works so good. You will so quickly start getting results from it. So something like that is really, really cool. You can also use tools if you want to do outreach via email. You can do tools like Apollo. Is a kind of a direct outreach tool where you can look up any type of business owner in a certain niche, and then you can do you can get their email address, their phone number, where you can do cold outreach. Those are going to be some tools that I would use if you're doing a B2B type thing here to actually do cold outreach. And then the last thing I would say here is AI/Chat GPT is your best friend when it comes to this. So here's what's cool about, the time we're living in, 2025, putting that up there big, is you don't have to know what to say, right, to these businesses or even these consumers. You don't have to know what to say. You don't have to have expertise in sales, because this is where AI comes in so helpful, right? You can go to AI, go to ChatGPT or go to Claude or any of these LLMs, and you can just say, look, I want to use Dripify and Sales Navigator, and I want to reach out to business owners, let's say lawn care business owners on LinkedIn, and I want you to help me set up the entire flow, and then I want you to write all the messages that I need to send to people to get them to get on a call with me and for me to sell them my service, right? And so it makes it so easy. You don't have to know what to say. It will write the messages. It will write the emails. It's super duper helpful. So that kind of wraps it up. That's the strategy I would go through, how I would think about it. I would first think about the product, which is typically going to be a high value, high cost service that I could provide, trade my time for money. I figure out how I'm going to package it. What is the result worth? What is the competition charging? Then I would set up either a form or application to book a call or just book a call. And then I would figure out how am I going to get people to see it? Ask the question, where are my customers already hanging out? And then what platforms? And I would use a direct outreach strategy to your ideal customer. Hey, if you're a parent and you're enjoying this content and you want to get a personalized online business launch plan completely free, I want to invite you to go over to plan.builtbyparents.com. Use our free AI Freedom Plan Generator, and in about 3 to 5 minutes, you will get a personalized online business plan that gives you a product, your packaging strategy, and your promotional strategy that you can use to build your online business and launch. So just go over to plan.builtbyparents.com. This tool is completely free. I'll put the link down in the description. Should be right at the top.